Hey there, fans of the Survivor Super Fun Time Show. This is Kevin from the Super Fun Time Show, and we got an awesome episode review, discussion, recap, whatever you want to call it. Actually, it's going to be episodes for 1 and 2 entirely of season 49. It's going to be with one of the best players of the new era, old friend of the Survivor Super Fun Time Show, the AlliGabler himself. He's actually here, but you can't see him. He's hiding in plain sight. Oh, there he is. We got the AlliGabler here. Welcome to the show,
Oh,
Gabler.
so glad to be here, Kevin. Wouldn't miss it. Been a long time since we've talked, but 49 has brought us together. So it's just started, but there's a lot to talk about, and it's another fun season that's kicked off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're only 2 episodes deep, so obviously the story hasn't rounded out. We only know the players, so much up to this point, but things are starting to develop a little bit, and I think some of our viewing is probably guided a little bit by knowing that 2 of these players are gonna be on season 50. So I kinda have my eyes on 1 or 2 at this point, but I think we got a ton we can talk about, and really Gabler, being one of the best players, specifically the new era right now, um, be able to give insight on some of the game that we're seeing and what really we think we can project moving forward. So it's going to be really exciting. So I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
right away, I mean, I have to ask you, so far, 2 episodes in, how are you feeling about the season?
It's great. Every Survivor season is completely different because the people are the game. Even the producers don't know what's going to happen when they put everybody on the beach together. And once again, 49 is not disappointed. And I think what's really interesting is just like you, my preseason opinions and picks are already drastically changed radically. Do 2 episodes
Mhm.
in because you just never know, right? You see people on paper kind of starting off. You're like, I think this person's going to do well. I think this person may struggle. And then the game starts, relationships happen, challenges, hardship befalls them. And then you see who rises. And, some of the people that going into the game, going into the season, I wasn't as bullish on have really grown on me. And I think that we can talk a little bit more about that, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of fun players, some cool gameplay. It's been a really, I think it's off to a great start actually.
I think so too. And just out of, pure curiosity, since you were talking about preseason, favorites or people you thought were going to be either first boot or one of the first, who was in the preseason your first boot, or at least someone you were pretty sure wasn't going to do super well?
I wasn't. I mean, honestly, I wasn't sure if Jeremiah was going to be able to stick it in because I heard his crazy laugh, which has grown on me quite a bit. But I was like, you know what, that when you're hungry, you're tired, you're all these other things, and that laugh's going off, it's probably going to be like pretty rough. But now I've done a 180 on that. And not only is it kind of a genuine trademark of Jeremiah, it's pretty damn funny. Every time he laughs, it makes me laugh. In fact, if I was a comedian and I would give him free tickets and put him in the crowd somewhere because if I get that guy to laugh, he's going to get the whole crowd to laugh. So I actually really think he's playing very well. He's positioned himself with a good couple alliances now. And yeah, but he's one that I've absolutely changed my mind on completely, and I think he's going to go pretty far.
I think so too. And one of the main reasons why is it seems like he's getting pretty close to Sophie. And I think I think she's effectively running the Kella tribe, and kind of what she wants is going to happen. She seems pretty close to Jake. Jake's
Yeah,
close to Alex, and she's kind of found herself in that trio. And Jeremiah, I think he doesn't really have any other game in town other than Sophie. And sticking by the queen right now, I think is probably the good move. So I agree with you. Preseason, I was like, I'm not so sure about this guy, but
yeah.
looks like it's kind of working out.
Yeah, and he's in with the four. He's got an alliance of four right now. He may be on the bottom of the four, but he's in that alliance. And heck, it's Survivor. He may be the top of the four tomorrow. You never know. But
Oh
he's
yeah.
in there. He looks quite well insulated and genuine. And he's got Sophie's ear and heart. And if he can keep that relationship strong, then she's going to look out for him. And that's really good news if you're Team Jeremiah.
Mm, absolutely. And I think, speaking of Jeremiah being on the Kella tribe, right now it looks like the Kella tribe's starting to round out to be what we now know to be disaster tribes. Because if you're thinking of the new era, there's been a couple. I mean, Uwan 41 wasn't particularly good. Uh, 43, I guess they didn't really have one.
But
44,
we
was
were kind of that. We lost the first challenge.
we were not the disaster tribe. Baka was awesome.
Oh, I love Bob. I do, but we were some drama. We were the drama tribe of that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you're a tribe of goofs, but you won a lot. I mean,
Yes, yeah,
I think Vessi was probably worse.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
well, even Coco for a little bit.
Once we lost that first one, we lost the first immunity. We were like, oh my god, are we going to be that tribe that loses again and again? And we had a real serious sit down. And even though we were fractured, because after you have your first vote, the game is on.
Yeah.
We came back and we said, when we have these challenges, we're playing all in. We're all on. I mean, the Baka flag was high before those challenges, and even if we came down, we'd separate. We get back to camp. We battled hard. We never lost another challenge. That was our. We only won. We only lost the first one, and that
That's
was
what I
it.
mean. You guys were
Yeah,
not a disaster tribe at all. You were awesome, honestly.
we,
You
we
were the best one in the pre-merge.
we
Um,
battled back. We battled
you
back.
That's right, you did. I mean, you were certainly no Lulu. Lulu was a disaster.
Yeah.
And there's a few other ones. 46, Yanu was bad, and
Oh yeah.
48, Vula was certainly a little bit of a disaster. And now it looks like Kella is falling in that direction. And I have to say, I'm surprised by that. I thought it was going to be Hina, because usually
Yeah.
yellow tribes are the ones that kind of fall apart. But Hina
Sure.
is a smooth machine. What do you think that, Hina may be doing right, whereas Kella is not getting it?
I think that Hina has chemistry. I think they also have been very logical and strategic with their placement of who does what during the challenges. And I think that Matt, he's the oldest player this year on this tribe. Is he the
I'm
oldest
pretty
one?
sure, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he's the oldest one, and then Annie was the second oldest. But he's really turned out to be a gem. Not only is
Mhm.
and he's patient. He clearly knows how to make fire, right? And I thought it was really interesting that Rizzo that called on him to help him out? Who was? Let me
Well,
look
probably
here.
not. Rizzo's on the other tribe.
It was, yeah, whenever I'm just looking
It may have been
here.
Steven.
It was Steven. Steven, thank you so much. Thank you. It's early days. I still got to memorize everybody's name. But um, Steven was looking at him when they were all struggling to make fire, and Matt was patient enough to wait to be asked. And
Mhm.
Steven said, "Hey, Matt, you look like you might know how to do this. Do you want to give a shot at this?" And sure enough, within like 30 seconds, the guy got a fire going. And they're like, "Oh, Matt may have some other tricks up his sleeve." So I think they valued him and he proved himself. And then they've clearly clicked. And when you're looking at that tribe of folks like MC is another one who's like surprised me. I wasn't sure she was giving me a little bit of a Michaela vibe
Mhm.
in that she was a very gifted athlete. She's a cool person, but maybe couldn't read the tea leaves. And maybe she can't. We'll see. It's still very early days. But she's someone who could go very deep in this game as well. And Sophie's on there. Steven is somebody that we haven't seen a lot of him in the
No.
the recent edits, but he's somebody I think we're going to see a lot more of because he seems cool, calm, and collected. Jason is somebody who I know early on in the game, the preseason, where maybe I was thinking Jeremiah might be an early out type of guy. You were thinking Jason might be, but that's another
I said I
person.
thought he would quit.
Well, similar thing, but
Yeah.
he boy that guy has really done well. He's a puzzle master. He's a cool personality, and he seems like everybody on the tribe likes him. So there's another one where going into the game, you're like, I don't know, maybe this guy's going to do well or not. No. Oh, real quick, who's your season pick winner? Who's your season pick winner before we get too deep?
Well, that's a good question. That was going to be my next question for you. Honestly, it was for mine. It is Savannah, and the reason why it's Savannah is, I think through 2 episodes, it seems pretty clear. Like she's just got all the right traits in order to, build an alliance, sustain an alliance, create new bonds, while seeking out information, withholding information. I mean, it
Yeah,
looks like she's going to be good
yeah,
in challenges. It honestly looks like she can kind of do it all. And it does seem like the camera and the producers really like her and they want to showcase all of her best features. So it feels like I can kind of see it coming. Um,
I think so too. She was my I'm in a Survivor league, a
your
league, if you
fantasy
will,
league.
fantasy league. So I'm playing that every week, and we have to declare our preseason winner. And
Mhm.
I also picked Savannah as the preseason winner. And so far through 2 episodes, I'm pretty happy with that pick because she, being the TV reporter, she looks physically fit, enough to be able to win. Hopefully, at least one individual immunity. I think she's got it to the merge. She looks strong. She looks
Yeah.
balanced. And look at her composure. Whenever she was, who was it that used her bag accidentally?
This
Juwan.
Juwan.
When Juwan grabbed a bag, was loading it full of bugs and sticks and stuff like that, and she hates bugs. I mean, I know there was like a nuclear bomb going off in her head, and she kept her composure. What I think was interesting was Savannah. When she's around everybody in the tribe, she maintains her composure. She's pretty even keel. And then she has her confessionals and she lets us, the fans, know what's really going on in her head. And she is like, she's throwing bombs and she's doing all kinds of stuff in the confessional. And then she walks back into camp and she's like, well, okay, Juwan, we'll see how that goes and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's a skill that is something that is going to take her deep in the game. It's very helpful if you can maintain composure under stress, because I'm sure somebody that has arachnophobia and that doesn't like bugs, to have your bag filled up with ants, potentially spiders and other things, and just the sand, and your bag is your only privacy out on that island. That's why it's always
Yeah.
a sacred thing. To have that violated so early, yeah, that's a tough one to get over. But she did. She didn't let it get to her, not publicly, and that shows me a lot of emotional intelligence that I believe will carry her far.
I would think so too. I mean, that is a good kind of a good litmus test. It's like, basically, can you handle someone else using your bag in that moment? Because if you can't handle that, are you going to be able to, keep your emotions in check enough when it gets really tough to the point where people are talking about voting you out, which is probably more serious. So,
Yeah,
and it looks like it's already, it's a good start for Savannah if she
yeah,
really
it is
hates
a good start for.
bugs and kept it together.
Yeah, it's like her literal nightmare is to have her bag and all of her clothes covered with ants and bugs, and she was like, well, please don't do that again. And just kind of moved on about it. And then she has
Yeah.
her confessional and like it's like, which I get. That's how to do it. That she did it. She's doing great.
I agree. And, kind of moving on to a different Uli tribe member, because I feel like I'm going to probably talk about Uli a little bit here. I think for 43, like if you're looking at the makeup of like Baka or any of the tribes, if there was kind of like a far out guy, I'd probably pick you as one of those people. And I'm curious, like Shannon is probably the far out lady on the Uli tribe, praying over things, saying like, this hermit crab's giving its light to us. Now, I'll say from one far out person to another, although I think you're definitely on different levels. How are you feeling about Shannon up to this point?
I'm glad you brought up her name because she's another person like like Jeremiah we were talking about earlier, or maybe Jason. Shannon was another one that was lower ranked on my preseason. And on episode one, I thought I was probably pretty accurate because I was like, oh my gosh, when you're having like, I get you want to be grateful, you want to be, it's attitude is everything, and all those things are important. But that's going to be a bit much when you're tired, hungry, sunburned, bug bit, all the other things, to be constantly being hammered with that. But I think one of her saving graces is having Sage on her tribe with her too, because
Mhm.
those two, it's like they together balance each other out a lot. And I think also Shannon being close with Savannah. So
Yeah.
everybody likes Shannon. Shannon is we maybe those are the only things we've seen, but she seems like she's got a good, to use the right word, vibe, because they seem to like that word a lot. But she's vibing with everybody really well. And if she can keep this up and keep her relationships, and well, heck, if that tribe can keep winning, then there's no tribal council. The number one rule of tribal council: don't go to tribal council. So
That's
if
right.
they can keep doing that, Shannon's safe as can be, and she'll make it deep in the game. And I like her. She's cool. I mean, everybody's cool. There's nobody we don't like on this thing. It's not a personal thing. We're just trying to stack rank and players and from what little
Oh
we've seen.
yeah,
So it's not bad.
yeah.
But she's someone that I did not have ranked super high early, but
No.
I'm changing that. It's changing. Everything that's what survive every week we get a little more focus and on these folks and see the strategy and I like her. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I probably would have thought that she would have been could have been one of the first ones voted out. But
Yeah.
she's now I think she's very well insulated and she seems like I mean she's clearly a smart player, but she's doing well. If she can just keep her weirdness to a this much level, that's probably good because a little weirdness is good, but if you have too much on there, then it'll backfire on you.
It could be like off-putting at that point.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be too much. So she seems to be her personality is vibing with her tribe really well, and she's moving and shaking. She's one to watch. She's one of the core people in that alliance over there. The three of them, I think, are probably the core three of their core four.
I would probably agree with that. And to go along with the core four discussion, because again, Uli has like so many people that I think could be talked about.
Yeah.
Even though they haven't lost, they have been showcased kind of heavily. For me, I think one of the stars of the first two episodes is Rizzo, the Riz God.
Oh yes. Let's
You know,
talk about Rizzo. Let's talk about Rizzo.
he's so fun, right? And I think for some of the recap. I mean, the first thing right off the bat, they do the challenge in episode 1, and they volunteer to do a battle, one-on-one battle for supplies. And for Uli, Rizzo shoots his hand right up, and he's like, "Listen, I'm happy to do it, but just want to give you a heads up. If it's a puzzle, I'm cooked." So,
Yeah.
and then he goes and does it, and you find out he is no good at puzzles, and he has this kind of controversial moment where he's cheating by
Yeah.
reading off of Alex's puzzle. Now, in that moment, how do you feel about Rizzo reading off the puzzle, and what do you think about Rizzo overall?
So I'm just gonna address the puzzle thing. Juwan didn't cover it. Juwan
It
didn't
was
cover it.
Alex, by the way.
Wait, Alex was on there.
Yeah.
Alex didn't cover it, and because that's right, Alex is with Jake. Didn't cover it, and therefore that's on Alex. Honestly, I think if you don't do, and then Rizzo is so charming. Even when Alex discovered he was cheating off of him, he left it. He let him do it for a while, and
A long
seconds
time.
a long time. I mean, Alex probably needed to take his shirt off and cover that while he went and dug and came back because then you're not allowed to that I don't think you'd be allowed to take that off because you're then trying to do it. But he didn't have any attempt. Alex didn't attempt to cover it. And just like how in other Survivor things you've got the tarp to pull down over your puzzle or whatever or your numbers, he left it alone. So I think he got away with one there. I don't think it was an unethical thing or anything. I think he got away with one, and that's Survivor. Outwit, outlast, outplay, outlast. He did it, and then Rizzo himself, digging deep, never quitting, all the things Jeff loves, and as a fan of the show, I love. He kept battling and he kept going, he kept digging, and literally the answer to that. Alex was in the right spot. He just wasn't literally digging deep enough. He needed to go down 3 feet instead of 1 foot. And Rizzo dug literally and figuratively deep enough to find the ship's wheel and win that. And I think what's beautiful about one of the things that's beautiful about Survivor is seeing people rise and unlock levels in themselves that they didn't even know were in there. And
Mhm.
Rizzo, it was a beautiful, authentic moment that we got to share with him in real time and see, don't give up. These are all the lessons and things in not just in Survivor, but in life. And Rizzo exemplified that, and he won me over on that puzzle. I'm cheering for the guy. I mean, I'm cheering for the guy for sure.
I agree. I mean, that's the thing. In that puzzle, in that moment, that's where I realized the charm of Rizzo. Because when you go into preseason and there's somebody who's calling himself the Riz God, and it's like a young guy, the really honestly like the main, I guess we call it the demographic that would say Riz all the time. I'm like, what a dick. Okay, this guy's gonna suck. But right away you start off, I'm like, okay, I
Oh,
totally
he's
understand
charming.
why this
He's
guy's
charming.
charming. I
Yeah.
get it in like a very unconventional way because he's like sure of himself while also being like sketchy about his confidence, and it's
Yeah,
very
it wasn't a
disarming.
cocky thing. He's just I think it's great. It was he's he's someone that if he can keep growing in his confidence in his game and keep evolving with his gameplay, I mean, that's another one. I mean, he's going to go far. He's could go very far in this game. And my goodness, what if he gets an idol somehow and everything else? I mean, he's one to watch. He's one to watch on
Oh yeah.
49, no doubt about it.
I mean, I think if I had to guess, I mean, obviously it could be anybody at any time, but if there was a candidate I would just pick is probably going to get the idol from the Uli tribe because they haven't found it yet. I'm like, it's going to end up being a Rizzo somehow, and you know, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so, Kevin. I would love it if Rizzo got it because he would do something fun with it, and I think that'd be
Mhm.
great. And you know, yeah, he's a cool guy. I think he's been he's been one of the pleasant breakout surprise people of 49.
Totally, 100%.
I would say another breakout person from 49. Of course, we got to talk about Jake, the big man,
Oh yeah, the shoe thief.
the shoe bandit. How funny is that, dude? I mean, seriously, he's not destroying them. You know, he's not throwing them in the
Mhm.
fire. He's not throwing them deep in the jungle. He's just moving them around to create some chaos. I mean, that is a personality that I think is hilarious. I think it's funny. I'm liking a lot of things about Jake. Um, you know, we obviously will talk about the preview for next week, which
Yeah.
I think is not going to be good for Jake, but the guy's personality, he's funny, he's a ball of energy, he's a beast of a human physically, and he's obviously a relationship guru because I don't think there's anybody aside from maybe Annie that and I and I think she even likes him. She just picked him to vote out, which was a mistake, clearly. But
Yeah.
you know, read the tea leaves, read the room. But you know, I think that's you know, Jake's one of those charming people too. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's like the battler personified, somebody that you can't help but bro up to, whether you're male or female, right? He's like a cool guy that you want to be around. He's kind of like the Cody a little bit of my season, you know, where who doesn't want to be around that guy? He brings energy, he brings positivity, and he's also wacky enough to where he's really makes I mean he's made the season really fun for me. I really am cheering for Jake hard, but you know, after seeing the snake in the preview episode for next week, I mean, and then I just saw a preview this morning that showed a stretcher with a bunch of medical personnel wheeling somebody out. They showed Jake next to and they showed on the beach, and then they showed a banded sea crate, which is a highly venomous sea snake, and I'm assuming that he was bitten by this. We don't know, but I mean, the previews are leading us to believe this. And I would hate. I really hope he doesn't go out because I really like watching him. He's one of the most fun people of 49, if not the most fun for me. I'm really enjoying watching Jake, and I hope that this isn't true, but I think it's looking that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, so I guess we'll kind of say spoiler alert. I don't know if it technically counts as a spoiler when it's all in the previews and the promos, but
Yeah,
it does look like, you know, right after the episode was over, they're like, "Hey, there's a snake, and you know, it's a poisonous thing." And they showed Jake, and now this new promo looks like somebody is being wheeled out, kind of like you said. Doesn't mean anyone's been removed from the game, but it probably points to that. And if it is Jake, Jake's been a huge character. Jake's been one of the 3 or 4 biggest ones so far up to this point.
absolutely,
And maybe
absolutely.
it's because he is leaving and they want to give him his time because he was so important in the first few days.
Yeah,
But it would be really bad to lose him. I mean, myself, I like Jake. I think he's
I love
fun.
Jake.
Is
Yeah,
he a great player? I don't know, but he's certainly doing well. I'm trying to think like, all right, if we're going to be super archetypal about it, let's say he's like David from season 48, the guy obsessed with milk. And what would be a tragedy if he is kicked out of the game, because of a snake bite? It's really disappointing because it feels like the story wasn't wholly taken down. Like, even though I like him, I'm disappointed he'd be gone because just leaving in general, whether it's a
Yeah,
snake bite or not.
yeah.
But if someone who doesn't like Jake thinks he's a big meathead and hates him, it's actually disappointing, I think, from a fan's perspective because, you don't want to see someone get evacuated medically that you don't like. You want to see the
No, no,
downfall.
no.
Like
You
David in
want Blind
48.
Side. You want like
Exactly. David in
you want
48. How stoked were people to see Joe, basically or help orchestrate voting out David and see the downfall of like the king? It's a better story.
it's satisfying. That's satisfying. And I'd probably say that Jake is a combination between Joe and David because he's
Huh.
got a lot of Joe characteristics from last season, and he's also got a little David in there, and maybe a little
Yeah.
Chaos Cast mixed in too, because he's something. But the Survivor gods seem to shine and smile on people that are medevaced out, and hopefully we see him. If it is him, we don't know for sure, but all of the
Mhm.
previews that I've seen, I just watched a couple this morning that just got released. I mean, it seems like they're even on their beach talking about him. So I hope that that's not the case because, or maybe
Yeah.
he goes out and comes back in. I don't know, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens next week. But he's one of my favorites for the season. I
Yeah.
really am enjoying him, and I think he brings a lot to 49. And if he goes out by medevac, that'll be very unsatisfying as a fan because I would rather, to your point, if he's going to go out, I want it to be in a blaze of glory. Although I will say this: if there is such a thing as a snake bite, because was it Amber who's the wildlife zoology expert? What was
Oh,
his name?
Omar from 42. Yeah.
Omer.
He tweeted about it. He said the
What did he
bandit
tweet?
sea crate is one of the most venomous snakes in the world, but it's also one of the least aggressive.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I mean, if assuming that this is true, was Jake messing with the snake,
Yeah.
or was he just laying there? I mean, who knows what's going on? It's going to be really interesting. I mean, I know I've seen Jake online. I follow him, so I know he's alive and well. At
Yeah,
least
thankfully.
in October, in October he's doing well. So I know that even though this might be really scary on the show on Wednesday, I know he turns out fine, but
Mhm.
I don't know what the consequences are or how this is going to play out. But something huge and unprecedented is going to happen on Wednesday. It's never happened in any of the seasons of Survivor. So for that
Yeah.
alone, that's enough to tune in for.
Absolutely, that's what they're saying because 'cause they're promoting the hell out of it. I mean, I think maybe they're spoiling him leaving, and I don't understand why they would do that. I don't know why Survivor would do that. Especially because if they're
No,
like, if it's just for ratings sake, then I go like, "Okay, well, you're hurting the Survivor fans' experience." Meanwhile, your next season is in the hands of the fans, which is supposed to be a thank you to the fans. So I'm like, "All right, well, pick a lane,"
it's
but that's just
inconsistent.
business.
It is inconsistent, and I think that there's enough anyways. I mean, you'd have a whole lot going on post wise, but uh, whoever gets is on that stretcher because you couldn't see their face. You could just see the
No.
medical team, wrap in highly uh, energized voices. Something bad is happening, and something to somebody, and somebody's being medevaced out. So I if it's Jake, I'm glad at least he's doing well now. If it's
Yeah.
somebody else, then thoughts and prayers are with them because it's like, oh my gosh, man, Survivor's a great game. We love it. We don't want to see anybody injured or taken from the game except for game related reasons like vote out, blindside, whatever, all that stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing to throw in there real quick, I would be upset if Jake were to leave because even though Savannah's my winner pick and I love Savannah, she's great. I can't wait to see more Savannah in my life. My second right now is Sophie from the Keller tribe, and that is her like top ally. So it would hurt Sophie in order for Jake to be kicked out of the game or removed out of the game,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'd be super disappointed by that. It'd be pretty crushing because I think she's doing really well. I mean, up to this point, how do you feel about Sophie?
Well, I think Sophie's doing great. I think I liked how she, last week she had the opportunity to take the idol for herself. She found that, the box
Mhm.
and was trying to uh, cajole them to leave the key there to come back later. I thought it was clever. And then I forgot who it was, walked up the trail, and then they stayed for another 10 minutes to look, and they found it.
It was Alex, that wily Alex. He got it.
Alex again. Alex popped up, and then they were able to find it because it was a big deal. But she's playing very well. She kind of she put herself out on a limb. She was in a bit of a precarious spot when that tribe lost that puzzle. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much pressure when you're trying to do the puzzle, and then also, as was evident on the final tribal of the tribal council, where multiple players kept saying like, "Can you repeat the question, Jeff?" Their brains they're in this week and next week are going to be the two hardest times because day 4, 5, 6 are probably the worst days out there physically
Mhm.
because you're the bugs, the sun, the starvation, and this is a tribe that's won nothing. These guys have gotten the tar beat out of them so far on every
Yeah.
single level. So they are not operating at full capacity. And, she's trying to do this puzzle, kind of failed miserably on there. And she took a lot of that personally and took the blame on her back, which I applaud her for. She's a stud. She put herself out there. Hey, man, those who dare win, she dared. Didn't win on that one. But overall, I do believe that she earned a lot of respect from her tribe. And then she had a chance to take the immunity idol for herself, which would have been amazing. But if Jake goes, it's going to have a ripple effect, and it's going to absolutely affect her game. She's going to have to reset everything she's built because she's built her game around Jake Meat Shield, Jake, my friend, Jake, my ally. Jake is a big part of her game, and if he leaves, it's going to send it's going to reverberate throughout the
Mhm.
entire tribe and the game. It'll change the season. Unfortunately, not for the better because I think Jake was a beautiful cast pick by Jeff and Matt and Jesse and all the casting people because he's a great that guy is got some charisma to him for sure.
I think so too. And I guess kind of a quick assessment from you. Let's say Jake is removed and there's no challenge, there's no vote or anything. Kella is down to 3. Do you think at that point, even though a lot of stuff is, if not everything, is planned in preseason, do you think that would prompt a tribe swap?
I do. I think they will. I do. I really do. I mean, I'm just guessing, but I think that it's one thing to lose, which maybe they would lose again. I don't know, but if they get hit with this piece of bad luck for the reasons I just mentioned about Sophi and how everybody's got to recalibrate their game, it is if you get a tribe of 3 versus everybody else, it's
Mhm.
probably not great. And at this time,
Yeah.
it's probably worth shaking it up, either doing 3 tribes again and tribe swap up, or I don't see a merge coming, but I see a tribe swap probably happening where they have to repick rocks or something, and they recalibrate their tribes, which as a fan I think is going to be that will be fun to watch because then everybody who's built so much over the last 3 or 4 days out there, it's all back to ground zero again. It's almost like a mini merge before the merge, and the teams that were winning, like doing such great stuff, like Hina and Uli, who are riding high on the hog. They're gonna have players that are now going to be on the bottom tribes, and they're gonna taste failure for the first time as a result of this. So it's
Yeah.
huge. It's huge. This next week is huge.
It really is. I mean, if they do end up doing a swap, I kind of hope this is a scenario where they were to condense it to 2 tribes instead.
Oh
Because
yeah,
it's so easy to create like a really unfair, disadvantages for a swap if they were to do 3 tribes. And it's worked out well. Like 45, one of the things I liked about it is they did a tribal swap, and even though Lulu was a disaster, like they actually kind of worked out in a way where the Lulu people were still kind of relevant. But I thought, or I think that if they were to bring it to 2, it could be interesting where like maybe I don't know how many people it would be at that point, 15 or something. Oh, that wouldn't be even, I guess, but whatever. So let's just say like half the tribe roughly is Uli, half the tribe is Hina, and then there's like one random person from the Kella tribe that would be like the swing vote. Like I would love that scenario. Whereas like the six, I don't know, three different tribes.
Well,
I'm not as into it as two.
well, I love the two idea, and maybe they do end up going forward with a tribal council this week, even with somebody being medevaced out, which would then make it 14, and you get two tribes of 7 competing. Which I think I want to see bigger tribes because there's a lot more gameplay when you
Yeah.
have bigger tribes. And you go back to earlier seasons of Survivor. The 3 tribes of 6. That's a tiny little. Those are 3 tiny tribes. And when you like for us when we lost the first tribal council and had to go to we lost the first challenge and had to go to tribal council, 6 there's not a lot of places to point because there's 6 of you, right? It's tiny, and then you go to 5, that's like nowhere to point. Where if you got 7, 8, 9, or even 10, there's factions within the tribe that are
Yeah.
so satisfying as a fan to watch and see how they play out. So I love that idea, Kevin. I think I'd love to see them vote out one more person. They'll medevac somebody, probably vote out somebody, and then do a schoolyard pick or something and have or draw rocks and get 7 and
I would
7
love
and
a schoolyard pick. I haven't seen one of those in a really long time.
long time. It's
That'd be great.
awkward. It's a little cringy, but it also kind of levels up who's who, and it creates good and bad feelings, which will. That's another fun thing to kind of see how people are going to handle themselves.
I
Mm-hmm.
think there needs to be more challenges with bad feelings. Like to this day, people talk about challenge variety and we need this or that. And I'm not even like I'm talking about physical challenges most of the time is what I want back. But even aside from that, because I know survivors really they're not into that because probably legal reasons and people getting hurt. But what I really want is people's feelings get hurt a little bit in
A
some of
little
these
bit.
like survey challenges. Like they used to back in the day, they would ask everyone, who would you trust with your life? Who doesn't deserve to be here anymore? Who's not as smart as they think they are. Like, I would love it if I
So
saw that
cringy.
because
Oh my God.
it hurts some ego, it shakes the deck a little bit.
As a fan, those are interesting concepts. As a past player, that is terrifying. That is
I know,
terrifying.
right?
Yeah, especially if your tribe is close, because if you've got, 43 was a season where all of the castaways to this day are close, right? We talked about that before, and we're
Mhm.
all friends. And golly, that would be really hard to like stack rank. I got to put Owen somewhere. I got to put Sam. These are people I really like. I like them all. It's like and that is a for somebody like me so hard to do. That would be so hard to do. Oh
Well, I
my
mean,
god.
just imagine that. You're like the final 8 of 43, and it's like who's not as smart as they think they are. And you have someone like, I don't know. We'll just say like, I don't remember if Ryan was in the final 8, but let's say Ryan's the answer and everyone basically wrote it down. I'm sure Ryan's like,
I
walking
know,
away from that.
I know. So I think that's probably why they got away with that. Where they moved away from that. But
But that's a terrible reason. That's not a good reason not to do it.
you can
That's
still
all
do
the reason to do it, honestly. That's how you shake things up.
you can still do a schoolyard pick because there's nowhere to hide there. When you get down to there's the first pick, the second pick, the third pick, the fourth pick. Now you're like, if you're like, hey, I thought I was going to be in the top half of these picks, and then your last one standing on the mat. I think that's extremely telling and interesting. And that's that. I'll be satisfied with that. I think that would be a great one.
I mean, that'll be good. That is true. Okay. So I actually have to, for the sake of time, I want to move on to a quick question for you again about the Uli tribe because they have a lot of the big characters right now been highlighted. For Nate, the Marvel executive, the older guy that's been kind of hanging around, he's listening to people talking about Riz and vibes, and I'm cooked, and he's clearly having an interesting time trying to assimilate into a group that's a lot younger than him. Now, yourself as being one of the older players from your
I was the
season, one of the
oldest
older
of my.
players of the
I
new
was the
era,
old. Yep,
the oldest player of your season. I mean, you're on Baca and you have a bunch of, some youngins. You have Sammy who was like 19 or something at the time.
that's right.
So you could probably relate a little bit to his situation
Absolutely.
fitting in. How did you feel watching him talk about that yourself sitting at home as someone who experienced it?
I certainly experienced something similar at certain points of our game, and I thought Nate did a great job of it. He was cool, calm, and collected. In fact, I'm going to give him the hiding in plain sight award for the week because I
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think he's doing really well. He's slowly but surely infiltrating all folks on that tribe, and they all like him. They all respect him. He's not overdoing it. He's not trying to be, he's not trying to vibe harder than he needs to be. He's not trying to fire harder than he needs to fire. And he's just doing he's doing all the right things. He's clearly a smart guy. In a couple more episodes, if he's still, I expect him to rise. I think he's hiding in plain sight right now. He's got a lot of information going through him, and he is making sure not to ostracize himself. And if he can if he can survive a little bit longer, then I think you're going to see him flip a switch, and he's going to start calling more shots and start doing more things. It's early days right now. Remember, it's early days. Like we saw Annie last week, day 2, like 2 nights or 3 nights on the beach, and she's even before they lost was talking about voting Joe out, which, I mean, you do not that's how to blow yourself up. Jake, thank you, Jake. That's how to blow yourself up pretty good, and she did. She did blow herself up. But that's Annie. We love Annie. It's all good. But
Yeah.
you can't do that. And Nate is not doing that. Nate's doing a super job of basically being in the blind spots, but he's in every relationship. He's in every discussion. He has all the information, and he's being true to himself. I think he's authentic. That's why I think he's doing well. He's not trying to be hip in all these ways that that wouldn't be authentic. He's being the guy that should be there. They look at him a little bit as a father figure in some ways, and maybe an older brother for a couple of them. We'll see. But he's doing really well. I think Nate's somebody that if he can make it to the merge, post merge, we're going to have a lot of Nate discussions.
I think so too. I think he seems like someone who's got it. The maturity, the mental stability in order to, play this kind of a tough game over a long period of time. So I happen to agree with you. I'm not certain he's end game, but I mean he could be. He could be. It's just tough. There's some other flowers that I think are growing a little bit taller, or I can see growing taller in the future. And that's where I can't put him up there. And that's where I actually kind of have to segue a little bit to ask you the question. From this point, we know your winner pick was and is Savannah, same as mine. But I guess moving forward, who are you rooting for the most to succeed at this point? Like, who as a fan are you like, I really hope they do well?
Well, obviously Jake, but I think from the previews, it looks like it may not be him, because Jake was one that I thought, this guy maybe he gets deep like Joe, except he just punches it out at the end. I don't know. But if I got to
Let's
pick
say beyond Jake in case, it happens next episode.
Surely Sophi is going to be a runner up to Savannah on there. I think she's good. And I think if you're going to pick a dark horse that's going to come out of nowhere, I'm going to pick MC.
MC, good pick.
I think MC, I'm starting to see some stuff in her that could be magic. We'll see. It's early days, but MC could, I thought it was the only mistake, I think, and maybe it's not even a mistake, it's just her trust in her gut, and I'm okay with that. You do whatever. Like Matt was really genuinely trying to help her and reach out and bond with her, and she's like, I don't know if I trust Matt. I don't know if I trust Matt. So she's got to probably tune in a little bit more on people. Maybe she can't read Matt. Maybe she can't read Matt right now, and that could be a problem for her down the line if she can't read people. But he's being genuine. He's really is giving her information. He's really trying to bring her in. He's trying to help her out. And she's like, I don't know if I trust Matt, but that's the only flaw I've seen in her game so far. Physically, specimen, personality wise, seems cool. Seems like everybody in the tribe really likes her. She's got a Michaela vibe to me, and that's good and bad, right? Michaela's one of my favorite all-time players for Survivor. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I love Michaela. I thought Michaela was. I love Michaela. I mean, I've never met her, but we've watched her twice, right? And
Yeah.
She's a passionate player.
Yeah.
She's tough. She had to control her emotions, and that was one of the things that got her. She wears her
Yeah.
emotions on her sleeve a little bit. So far, I haven't seen that from MC,
No.
but MC, and I'm also really good friends with Nneka Ejiri from my
Mhm.
season, right? So she's Nigerian, and our family has gotten close with Nneka's family, and I think I have a little bit of insight into the Nigerian culture. And I think, just getting to know them, they came up and visited us for a week. We went whitewater rafting, a bunch of cool stuff up here. Um, and I'm kind of seeing, so I think I understand culturally a little bit more about, somebody with a Nigerian background. And there's a lot of positives there. Really, really, there. So there's a lot of things that make me think that MC is going to do something more, and it's just a matter of time before she just busts out, and we see a lot more of her.
Okay. I think she's a good pick. I appreciated that. Even though I think it was probably not smart. Like you said, I think Matt was trying to help her. I think Matt, if you can't read Matt, which I don't know if that's the case, but if she can't read Matt, I don't think you're going to be able to read anyone because he seems like he's the most straightforward with what he's saying.
And maybe
Um,
that's what's messing her up. She's like, until she realizes that he is I mean, people have had that with me too, because early on, I mean, I was a very straight shooter, and people were like, is this really true? And then it turned out it would be, but it might take a few votes. It might take a few more, because they haven't been to tribal council yet. So when it might take a little bit of time for her to trust people, and because everybody, trust is earned, and trust is the currency of every relationship on Survivor. And you don't really get a chance to build trust until your trust is tested. So it might take her a little bit of time to read Matt, but Matt was real, and she's got to be able to pick up on that, to your point. And we'll see. We're going to see real soon.
I think so. Absolutely. For the sake of wrapping up, because I think up to this point, 49's been good. It's only been 2 episodes in. There's been, some serious positives and some folks that we want to see a little bit more from, which I think is fair. Hopefully next episode with Jake, he's not medevaced, but they've kind of made a couple promos that make it seem like he is. So
Yeah.
that'd be unfortunate. But like another piece of 49 is a lot of people looking ahead to season 50 because they're going to promo the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And 2 players from 49 are going to be on 50.
Yeah.
Now, quick spoiler alert. I'll just say it right now. I'm going to say who the 2 players are from 49 right now at this second. One is Savannah, which makes sense considering how well she's been doing. And 2 is the Riz God himself, is also
right.
going to be on season 50. 2 players that I think are very worthy to be on it so far from what I can see.
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out. And I'm excited. But it's funny because my viewing experience is now slanted because I know they're on 50. I'm looking at Savannah more. I'm looking at Rizo more and saying, like, when are we going to get back to Rizo and Savannah? Because, basically I'm told these are long-term people I should care about going into even
Yes.
next season. And
Yes.
has that been your experience to some degree where you feel like without, it hasn't been quite as fair, like other players maybe feel like side characters,
Oh,
knowing
for
that these
sure.
2 are going to be around?
It's very much like Australian Survivor, where they seem to, the edit has their favorites, and we get to know a lot about certain people and a tiny bit about other people. Like, we haven't seen Steven. Steven didn't even show up, I think, much in the last episode, right?
No,
So
last episode, not much. The episode 1, you found out he had a hearing aid and stuff like that, but
yeah,
that's really
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah, he was featured in one, but kind of skipped over in this one. And I think that they've gotten a lot of attention. I think that there is a bias there, but I don't know whether that means that, like Kyle from last season, that one of these people goes all the way, or whether they
Mhm.
just go far. But they got to go somewhere, I'm guessing, to go. Either they didn't get there like Joe, and then they're getting another chance to come back. I don't know what that is, but I will say this about 49: with a huge, when your season airs in the shadow of the big season 50, and all the promotions are for 50, and you're still able to deliver such a good season. I'm really enjoying the season. So I think that that is a credit to all these castaways because it is really coming to be an interesting season. And that's a tough thing to do when you're in the shadow of 50. You're in the
Yeah.
shadow of 50. Everybody, like, is 49 going to be a speed bump to 50, which is what I think a lot of us were thinking. Like, what, God, you should have done, like fan favorites for 49 and then do 50 for 50 and whatever. They know what they're doing. Jeff and gang know what they're doing. This is a great season of Castaways, and they're doing good stuff. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a memorable season. Clearly, next week something unprecedented that's never happened before, and we think it involves. They keep showing the preview of a snake and Jake and
Yeah.
the medevac. They don't put it all together, but they. I mean, we're figuring stuff out. We're Survivor
Yeah.
fans. We're detectives by nature. That's what we do.
It's true.
That's all Survivor people puts it. Well, this means this and this. So we're kind of doing that. But I think 49 is off to a great start. It's early, but I'm going to be watching my super fun time episodes every week and get my updates, my backstories.
That's
so
right.
I appreciate you, super fun time, Kevin.
Recaps every week.
The recaps every week are great. Fans out there, if you're not watching them, you need to, because it's like 15, 20 minutes of power, 10 to 20 minutes of power. And it's really fun to watch. We usually watch them as soon as they come out after the show, and gives me a little bit more focus on some things. So it's pretty fun.
Well, I appreciate that, Gabler. That's very nice. And it's true. He texted me earlier today. He said, "Hey, watch the episode recap." And I was like, "It's so weird to see my videos up on the big screen like that for you." But I love it. I love it. Big fan.
I'm going to show this picture. This is my living room. And I'm watching. There's super fun time up on my living room right there. I just watched
so ridiculous.
It's
I
really
love
fun.
it so much. Oh my gosh. But yeah, 49's been great. I mean, I still don't think people from 49 should have been on 50 since it's such a big season, but I also can't really hate too much because, before Survivor All-Stars, which is like the first marquee season, season 8, Rupert played back-to-back. For Heroes versus Villains, they had Russell Hantz play back-to-back. So the track record of back-to-back players has been pretty good, actually.
Yeah, Michaela played back-to-back.
Oh, yeah. 33 and 34, Millennials versus Gen X and Game Changers. Amanda Kimmel and James from Survivor China played Micronesia, 15 and 16. So there is a great track record for it, and I can't really hate. But it's only disappointing to me about the season 50, these two being on there, because even though I like them a lot, there's other people I would have preferred to see because I'm afraid they won't get a chance again. And it's not like old school people. I mean, like new era folks. Like, first of all, I would love Gabler to have been on because I think he's one of the few winners that could have repeated in 50. Andy Verwita from 47. I'm shocked that he didn't make it. Jesse Lopez from 43.
Jesse Lopez. I mean, we're going to see Jesse again on Survivor. I mean, as a fan, I mean, we have to have Jesse back out there again. Jesse's got gas in the tank. He's a mastermind. I've actually saw him. He came out with his family this summer. We had a great time. Jesse's stacked now. Jesse's got some guns. Jesse's been hitting him. Jesse's going to win an immunity at some point. It's coming.
I can't wait. Whenever he gets another chance, because by the way, I think something they're going to learn from 50, and this is where I stress fans, because Survivor fans can be a little wild at times with, being upset at the game. If you want to prove a point to bring returners back, show up in a big way, because they're going to read the numbers, how much money you spend for 50, all that stuff. And if you do that, they're going to be more prone to probably have more returner seasons. And I think we need a new era returning season. And I think we're going to get a Jesse, we're going to get a Gabler, a Carolyn, or Andy Ruida, but we need to show up for it. We need to let them know we need more returner seasons.
100%. When we see returning players play, I mean, the legends of the game, whether it's Sandra or Parvati or Sari or Boston Rob, I mean, the way to make legends is to have them come back, right? Because when they come back and they play again, and when you have past players play and become legends create fans. It's all a great thing to do. It's a cycle. So I'd like to see more legends made, because we've got Sari, Parvati, Boston Rob, those are kind of like the old legends. I want to see some new era legends. I want to see some like Carolyn's, get people back out. There's so many to choose from now. There's so many to
Totally.
choose from. I'm glad Jonathan's going to be on there. I'm
Me
really
too.
excited about Jonathan because he's a great human in addition to being a specimen of a human, right? He's an incredible player, incredible, but in his off time, the guy does like Habitat for Humanity. He's all around the world helping people build wells. The dude
Mhm.
puts his money where his mouth is and puts his time and effort where his mouth is. And a life of service is a life well lived. And Jonathan exemplifies that. I am cheering for Jonathan in 50. I am
Oh,
big time.
yeah. And honestly, me too. I mean, first of all, he's always been really nice, to me when we
He's a
chatted. He's been
gentleman.
on here
He's a
once.
gentleman. Yeah.
Him and Mike Turner did a fantasy draft with myself and Lindsay Carmine. It was a really fun time. But, he's such a trippy guy in that I think he did the draft on his phone in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven because he was just I don't know. He's not tethered to a lot of stuff.
Jonathan,
Um,
man, it's just he's an interesting guy. He's a great guy. He's a great representative for Survivor.
yeah, and you know who one of Jonathan's Survivor best friends is now?
Who?
Boston Rob.
Oh yeah, they were golfing or something together.
He
They were
hangs out with
somewhere.
Boston Rob all the time. They build
Yeah,
houses together sometimes.
that's right. Because Rob's a carpenter, of
That's
course.
right. And he probably if I wouldn't be shocked if he does, like, work for Boston Rob, because I think Boston Rob has, like, a company or something, like, some kind of a contractor company, and they're in the same area. I've no like, it's just always so funny to see
I
him with,
love it
like, royalty, and Rob's a total bro, and so is
Yeah, well,
Jonathan, so it
yeah,
makes sense that they hang out together.
for sure.
And it's really kind of funny because if you watch Redemption Island, Jonathan kind of looks like Boston Rob's buddy on that season, Grant. He even had like the same hair, except he was a little
Oh yeah,
smaller. It's kind of funny.
it's a natural relationship. I think both of those guys have a magnetism about them that it doesn't matter who you are. If they're in the room, you're going to gravitate towards them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and obviously Boston Rob is, I mean, he's not the GOAT, but he's up there. So hopefully Jonathan took a little something with him because Jonathan in his original season was good. There probably could have been some improvements in some of his
Oh yeah,
game.
oh
But,
yeah,
I
sure.
mean but there could be improvements in anyone's game, and like you said, you know, uh, he could become a new legend. Tiffany from 46 could
Yeah,
become a new legend. A good comparable is Kelly Wentworth from
yeah,
San Juan del Sur. I mean, her first season honestly was nothing to write home about. She went
yeah.
home kind of early for now a legend, and she came back in Cambodia, had her big idol plays, and now everyone loves her. And I think there's a lot of
Absolutely.
opportunity for that in the new era.
That's right. Repeat players, you create legends when you have that, and legends create fans. And they need to do some more of that with New Era. They've got plenty of people to choose from that are really exciting. We just named a bunch of them. So let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to do super 2 or 3 rapid fire questions. Literally, you only have to give me names. Totally fine for 50. So going into it, for the heck of it, I'm going to put the tribes up on the screen and let me know who you think you would believe would be the first boot from this tribe. It's the only tribe that has more new era players
Yeah.
than old school players.
I think Coach. I think Coach is going to be first out of this tribe. That's my guess. My guess. We might as well get him out. It's nice to meet you. It's awesome to meet you. Out. So
I
my guess is Coach is going to be the first. You said rapid fire. That's my gut tells me
Yeah,
Coach is the first.
totally. Coach is probably who I would go with. I would also throw out maybe Charlie, but I'm not really sure. It depends. That's a tribe where I think the ladies are going to kind of run it. So for the purple tribe here, how this one's going to run? We have Q, Kyle, Colby, Rizgod, Aubrey, Stephanie LaGrossa, Genevieve, and Angelina.
Boy, I'm gonna say Q because I think Q's gonna come out blazing in a blaze of glory, and he's gonna come out maybe too aggressive. That's just by watching him once. Now, if he completely changes his gameplay, that's it. But my gut is that if Q doesn't evolve his game and he comes out like Q was last time, I think that'll be a quick rub on some of those folks, and that he could be out. So gut check. 1 second thinking about it. I'm going to say Q is first out.
I think that's probably a fair pick. He's probably who I would go for too, which is a shame because I love Q. And the final tribe, the Orange tribe, which is my favorite tribe, pound for pound. You have Sari, Jenna Lewis from Borneo, Emily Flippin, and Savannah from 49, with the bros here, Christian, Ozzy, Rick Devins, and Joe from 48.
All right, I'm just going gut again, and not that I don't love this person, but Sari. I think Sari is going to be the first out. This will be her sixth time to play, and I think that that is going to be factored into a lot of people. Plus, she's good, and early on in the season of all the seasons, the physical challenges are a big thing. Now she's gotten a lot better. Interestingly enough, the older she
Mhm.
gets, the better she gets at challenges. She's been getting better. Have you saw her on Australia versus the World?
Yeah, she did okay.
Fire. She almost won a couple of those. She's getting better, but I think her threat level is going to be pretty high. I think the fact that she's played multiple times, that's probably going to six times, not multiple. This will be her sixth time to play. So I think that alone is going to be enough to target her if they lose. And I think Queen Sari will be the first one out. Those are my gut picks without anything to go on. just you said go rapid fire. A rapid fire.
No, no, no. Rapid fire is the way I want it, and because there's a million ways you can talk about it, and there's a lot of time to talk about season 50. But just for the heck of it, I wanted to get your gut as a winner of the game, trying to project on this big concoction of these all-time players. I appreciate it.
You bet,
Now,
brother. It was great catching up with you as always. Really excited. We had a lot to talk about for just two
so
episodes,
much.
but we also talked about 50 and a bunch of other stuff. But
Yeah.
uh, it was super fun, as all
Heck yeah.
super fun time episodes are.
That's right. And that's all the time we have today with Mike Gabler. Thank you again for sitting down and talking with us here. Well, with me here. And hopefully we'll be talking again later on in the season when things develop a little bit later on.
You bet, brother. All the best,
Awesome.
everybody.
All right. Thank you so much. You all have an amazing day. Take care.